wanted to talk about the phenomenon that happened. It kind of came and went. It was a couple of months, so it's not like it came and went instantly, but it like happened like waves. This topic of black fatigue. I've watched a decent bit of shorts and like other kinds of like discussion, like literally people like on news like shows. And one thing I noticed, especially like in short form content, is no one can actually decide what this thing called black fatigue really is. And I've got opinions, obviously. So it's like whatever. Another person throwing his opinion to the ring, it's gonna cause like not me like not me specifically, but what was happening around the conversation, especially as you got to try to get to like to the nuance of something. One thing I think that people can agree on is that no one can agree on what it is, except for that it has to do with the visibility of black people in larger American like portrayal, especially like media and like short form content and the stuff that you watch. Uh, I think a couple of things. One, I think it's very typical that American society cannot come to a consensus of what tires them about seeing black people on TV because the visibility of black people in our media is a complex topic that many different kinds of people have different opinions on. A lot of things that I see when it comes to black fatigue from like a black person is elements that they want to associate with poverty culture that are also mixed in with things like black culture, like what happens when people are inspired or affected by our prisons. And by that, I mean like sagging their pants or something. White people tend to be tired of criminality. They're tired of dying and dashing. They're tired of stealing. They're tired of stuff like that. And then there's like obviously the whole culture of poverty that if it's okay, it's not really okay if another person who isn't black does it, but it's associated with being black because in the cultural zeitgeist, blackness is inextricably linked to poverty. Things like having undisciplined children or being relatively uneducated or hey, my cat's here. Stuff like that. And I do want to have a bit of a mental separation because the fact that black culture is inextricably linked to poverty culture, at least in America, is a racist problem. I mean, the whole black fatigue thing, that's all a problem about race. And it's coming from racists because you do not have to fix your mouth to say you're tired of seeing a specific kind of person ever. We're not going to get to the point where people are talking about Hispanic fatigue unless the dial moves to them. And right now, they're dealing with something else completely different, and I'd argue a little more horrendous in the year 2025. If to date the video, the whole ICE raids and deportation things to countries that they've never even been to is a whole thing that's happening. But with regards back to the topic of black fatigue, the shorts normally describe a thing that happens that a black person does. Nor like I said, sometimes it's associated with like black culture, like a girl goes to graduation and starts dancing and twerking in the middle of like 500 people or how many people are attending their graduation. That's the thing about black culture. That's I could say that's a black culture thing. Dance as a celebration is I say a valid way to do it. People are tired when black people do it because there's like this level of personal embarrassment, especially as you'll see more affluent looking or talking or presenting black people. They're tired of like the awkward presentation that black culture forces them to reconcile with, especially as they deal with like greater white society and have to like default to respectability politics to make it seem as if they're not that kind of person because when a when a black person does a bad thing, it reflects badly on the entire race. That's because you're dealing with racists. Because when white people do something fucked up or deal with something that's like a culture of poverty, like dine and dash or engage with crime or hit on people in public when they don't want it. Because of course, when a black guy cat calls, that's just what black people do. But when a white guy cat calls, it has to come from like women to say that men are assholes, right? But when you basically get to like the intersectionality of like class and race, when person of race does thing is bad, and that's racist. When I've seen the shorts, when okay, so we've got the dancing, we've got like the sagging, the dying and dashing and stuff, and none of those, a few of those are they're none of them are only bad because a black person is doing it, but it's being portrayed as such. Here's the thing. We are overrepresented in American media. We are 13% of the population. We are most of the prisoners, which is crazy. And because of how our justice system, because we're over policed, we are most of the news stories as well. It's stupid. Statistically speaking, if someone's committed a crime, you're going to see a black person's face all over everything, despite us being such a minority of the population. And that's not because black people commit most crime. It's because we are over policed and because the media is not interested in portraying the criminality of other races because there's a narrative that needs to be maintained, that of the criminality of black people in specific. So when and crime is a topic that sells, shock media is a topic that sells, and it's really easy to make a culture that is not like, I mean, it's not like white culture, which exists in America, by the way. White Americans do have culture. It's just that black culture is this dynamic, like simultaneously deified and vilified phenomenon that gets a ton of eyeballs. And that's the thing, the visibility of black people in their culture and everything that they embody. It was like how they are in public, if they have loud kids, if they engage with hip hop, how they're affecting people, their level of education, how do they act in like, greater white society. Those things are really good for views. They've been for so long. And the thing with black fatigue is that people are tired of seeing black people in media, racist people are tired of seeing black people in media because it's an overexposure thing, but they're pinning it on the fact that we're just like this. Black people are normal. And I hate to have to assert that. We're just like everybody else. But when a spotlight is on us all the time, because selling our image, selling our trauma, selling fears of us is the thing that sells best in Western media. I'd get a little tired too. I wouldn't call it black fatigue. I'd be like, why is it always black people being portrayed when we're such a minority of the population? There's a reason for that. I think I'm gonna move on to the topic. Move on from the topic because that's just what I say my 2 cents. But with this sort of content that I'm making, whatever I end up calling it, I do want to keep a log of how I'm doing, what I'm doing, as not for like a form of like caretaking for myself. I recently, I mean, I could start reeling off the books that I read, I guess like per video, because I'm not like I read a book a week. It's probably like every 2 weeks. I don't know. I finished a really cool book recently called, well, what I'm currently reading is actually called How to Sell Out. It's by Chad Sanders, The Hidden Cost of Being a Black Writer. But a couple weeks ago, I do want to share, I did finish this book called Beneath the Trees When Nobody Sees. It's a wonderful graphic novel about a serial killer that enters a sort of cat and mouse game when they're in like the sleepy town and they realize that their cover might be blown because another serial killer shows up, which is marvelous because this person is already smart enough to have been evading people for as long as they've been like engaging with that activity, and now they have to find and solve the case first and then pin it on them. And that's a cool plot. I like that. I've been listening. I mean, what I do, because I have two jobs, and one of my jobs I actually travel. I've been listening to a lot of albums. I'm not a music listener, as it were. I've been trying to like change things. I did most recently listen to "Don't Tap the Glass" by Tyler the Creator. Funky album. I like it. I'd recommend it. I'm gonna give it a re-listen before I like listen to any like reviews. With fucking Fantano controlling people's heads and lines and stuff. But I did like the most recent Tyler the Creator album. How I'm doing, how I'm feeling. I'm kind of like reading off of like a thing. How I'm doing, how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a little better. I've been the reason, if you know my face or know me or like know that I don't engage with the creative stuff much, is because once I start feeling like shit, I stop making things. I'm feeling a little better, which is why I'm doing this. Although I acknowledge that this might just be like a phase thing, like I'd go in and out. So I've been reconnecting with my community, competing in Smash Brothers, talking to my family, trying to re-engage with people on a level that like I feel like I want to reciprocate. I've been talking to my like old college roommates and stuff. I've been trying to get back to that, and I'd recommend that people do that too. If you ever feel like trapped, or you feel like you can't do anything to get yourself out of a thing, then if you have community, reach out to them. And if you don't know how to find community, there are ways to do that when you have like a phone in your hands and you need to find a group of people to, and it's like not to like dump your worst traumas on them and then have them be disgusted and kick you out. It's just like to be a normal person in front of people and engage the things that you have common interests in, and then like take it from there. If you need to talk to somebody, most of the time I'd recommend a therapist, and that's for somebody who's going to see his first therapist. I'm 30 and I'm going to see my first therapist in a couple of days, and I realized that the kind of information that sits in your head that can affect other people should probably sit in your head until like a qualified person can deal with that. And if you understand, if you know qualified people without therapy, that's cool. But random people or people that you really care about for really deep stuff that might like affect their behavior around you, I understand the fear is real, and I've seen why that fear is real. I, you know. Anyways, what I've been playing. Not that I've been playing it currently, because someone recently bought me Tekken 8, and because they needed a practice partner, I've been playing a lot of that. Right now, I'm playing a crap ton of really old Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst, but I did beat Monster Hunter Rise's first like 20 hours. Got to the credits and stuff. Monster Hunter Rise is a great game. I've never played Monster Hunter before. It's neat. I like it. That was cool. Although the plot kind of goes places without. I don't know. It places a huge onus on like your capability. Your character is a Superman. Well, the plot of Monster Hunter isn't supposed to be like the main thing. It's supposed to be the hunt. I liked it, and I will continue to like it when I get back to it. I'm 56 hours in Phantasy Star over the past like 3 months. Yeah, I beat Monster Hunter like 3 months ago, whatever. So, yeah. Did I miss anything? That is the question. Um, did I make anything this week? I recently traced over a drawing of my brother's. When I travel for work, I do take pictures of clouds when I'm stuck in traffic that I can see faces in, and I might start sharing those faces that I see, because when I look at the clouds in my like photo history and I still see them. But I did trace over this nice picture of Raven that my older brother made. He's a talented artist and I love him. But yeah, that's it. So that's keeping up with me. Webcam having frame limits as normal. Uh, if you found me, tell me how you found my video, and give me a comment on what you thought about the content. The initial discussion. I mean, if you liked anything or like a recommendation that I gave during the video, I'd like to see your thoughts on that too. But this is new to me. I don't know what I'm doing. I like the spectrogram in the background. It's cool. I always wanted to do something like that. Anyways, that's enough of me. I will see you next time. Peace.